Hello, welcome to my channel, A Book Forest. My name is Kim and today I'm going to be doing my top 10 books of 2025. So the books I enjoyed the most. I don't have any rules. I've seen other people have rules like not the same author twice, no rereads, things like that. I don't have those rules because I want my top 10 to be actually the top 10 books I enjoyed the most. And if I read more of an author in 1 year, I might have more books from that author on the list, obviously. So that's why I don't put those rules in. That's it. So I have two honorable mentions. They just didn't make the cut. They're both 4 stars that I read, but I enjoyed them very much, even if I didn't give them 5 stars. So these two honorable mentions are A Month in the Country by J.L. Carr. It's a book set in 1920, just after First World War in England, and it's a soldier who has a lot of issues following the war. Obviously, he's a kind of a broken man, and he goes to the countryside to restore a fresco in a church that was discovered. And it's just him in that little town, meeting the locals, kind of living in the church belfry and just surviving there, and just him maybe like opening up, blooming a bit during that summer. And it's like an old man reminiscing about one summer in his life and what it meant to him. And I thought it was lovely. It's short and sweet, so if you enjoy that kind of thing, I highly recommend. Also, The Witch Roads by Kate Elliott. So I read that this year and I absolutely loved it. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is the ending. I thought was a bit clunky, but the rest of the book was great, and I read the sequel and I also enjoyed it. So yeah, I would say like I have a review of this, so I'll link that down below. If you like fantasy, Eastern inspired, a bit mysterious, like a mystery, and class, like a bit I would say castes and political, very human, like focused on the human side of the people. It's great. And also there's a nice love story, so yeah. So my top 10 for 2025, I ranked them because I like to rank things, but except for the top 3, they could probably be ranked in different orders. I actually kind of agonized over it and I was like, you're overthinking this, just rank them for now. But yeah, the bottom 7 could change places depending on my mood. So number 10, Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. So I read this going in blind, like most people, because everyone that reviews this book says, I don't want to talk about it too much, I want you to go in blind, and I think that's the right way to approach this. I'm just going to say it's set in a very mysterious house with statues, like Greek statues, and it's kind of a maze, a labyrinth, and there's Piranesi is one of the only people living there. There's another guy living there, but very mysterious. And it's just Piranesi living in that house, and it's very atmospheric, very mysterious. There's a lot of philosophy that you get out from this, a lot of emotion. I absolutely love the main character, Piranesi, like a very innocent, childlike. And the house is a wonderful setting to explore. It's not for everyone. I lent it to my mom and she didn't read it. Like, she DNF'd it. She doesn't enjoy that kind of thing. But if you enjoy kind of a fantasy but with a lot of mystery and classical themes, you would enjoy this. Alright, so number 9. I read a lot of Guy Gavriel Kay this year in 2025, so it's not the only one that's going to be on the list. I really, really enjoyed this. Under Heaven is set in alternate history China, so Guy Gavriel Kay has he takes real history, but he makes it his own, really, and he takes it to a fantasy world. So you kind of know the history if you were familiar with that time period, but he kind of does his own thing with it. It's not necessarily like a formula that I absolutely love. I kind of would prefer an actual historical novel or a real fantasy like that kind of jumble, a bit like a Song of Ice and Fire, for example, who takes a lot from history, but it doesn't do it precisely. But besides that, I think it's great. He's a great writer. Like, the prose is amazing. He's an overall great writer. Like, he has great characters, great stories, plots, writing. So yeah, he's very highly rated, I think, and I agree. So Under Heaven, I have a dedicated review for this, so I'm gonna link it down below if you want to know more. So it's set in alternate history China during the end of the Song Dynasty, and it's focusing on characters that are kind of central to the plot, but are also like observers of the plot, and it has like very interesting dynamics between the ruling political class. Like there's an emperor who's kind of given up on his job, really, and he just wants to enjoy life with his concubine. There's a nice, the concubine is also very interesting. She's very beautiful, and she's clever. There's also a general of the armies that's kind of disgusting, but at the same time very interesting, the prime minister. And at the center of this, there's this one guy who's kind of linked to all of these people in spite of himself. He's gotten really important in this world because he got a gift from another country of a lot of very beautiful horses, and those horses are highly in demand in this country, Kitai. So yeah, it's very interesting politically, and also the end of a civilization, like, you know, the swan song, really, of a civilization, and everything beautiful and not so beautiful that goes with it. And number 8 is the sequel, River of Stars. Most people prefer Under Heaven to River of Stars. I am the opposite. I preferred River of Stars, but they kind of go together. I did the review of both of the books at the same time, and it's set like a few hundred years after Under Heaven, and it's also the end of another dynasty that's diminished since the events of the first book, but still great in its way. But it's kind of the same themes that are being discussed, like is the ruling class like disgusting, or do they have something right? Like, and also like the beauty, the beauty that can come from the rich doing their thing, but also like the destruction that comes with it. There's poetry, there's warfare. It's like an amazing main character. Like one of the main characters, Lin Shan, is one of my favorite female protagonists that Guy Gavrique has ever written. So yeah, obviously, I highly rated those two books. So highly recommend. Okay, so number 7 is the third book in the trilogy. So it's Den of Wolves by Juliette Marelier. I love Juliette Marelier. I've loved her for years. I read her Seven Waters trilogy ages ago when it kind of came out, and it's one of my favorite things I've ever read. Den of Wolves, like the trilogy, is called Blackthorn and Grimm. So it's Dreamer's Pool, the first book, Tower of Thorns, and Den of Wolves. The trilogy focuses on Blackthorn, who is a wise woman in Ireland in the Middle Ages, I'd say. It has a lot of fantasy, like it has fairies and mystery, magical abilities, but not heavily so. Like, it's mostly human perspective. So it's Blackthorn, who is a broken woman. She's probably nearing 40. She had traumatic events that happened to her when she was younger, and she got like she tried to go against the head of her region or area, and it didn't go well for her. She got in prison for a year, and she was broken in prison. And Grimm, who is in prison with her, he is also a broken man. They go through terrible things together, and he kind of sees her as the most beautiful, amazing thing in the world. He kind of needs her to stay good, to not go crazy. So they have like this kind of a friendship, but he's tagging along, and she doesn't really want him there at the beginning of the story. So yeah, she's kind of very looking to be alone and revenge. But she gets rescued from prison by a fae, and the condition of her release, not in order not to go back to prison, basically, is that she does not enact her revenge for 7 years, and she needs to go live somewhere and help anyone who asks. So that's the premise. And there's also always a mystery involved, like maybe involving magic and the fae, and it's this relationship between Blackthorn and Grimm growing like over the passing of the trilogy, and it culminates in Den of Wolves, and it's the one I enjoyed the most for the mystery. First of all, like the story, the actual plot. The first 2 books I enjoyed, but the plot was a bit weak in my opinion. In this one, it's much stronger, and the Blackthorn and Grimm relationship is just the heart of those books. I love them to bits. I love those 2. I would protect them. If I met them, I would just want to take care of them. They're lovely. So that was my number 7. I have a review of this trilogy, so I'll link this down below. Alright, so number 6 is also part of a trilogy that I read. It's the Mortal Techniques. So the first book is Never Die. I read this a few years ago, and I really, really enjoyed it, by Rob J. Hayes. It's self-published. And the second book is Pawn's Gambit. And the third is Spirits of Vengeance. I read that earlier this year. But the one I read this year that I enjoyed the most in this trilogy is Pawn's Gambit. It's the middle book. It's rare that I like the middle book better, but those are 3 standalones really that kind of are in the same world, and they have like tidbits, like they have some characters, some crossover, but you can read them kind of in any order. I personally would recommend reading them in publication order, so Never Die first, Pawn's Gambit, and then Spirits of Vengeance, and reading there's also some short stories, novellas. I would read all of those, because this world is great, and the little hints of past events are great, so when you read them in publication order, you get the most out of it. Pawn's Gambit is the story of also a broken woman. It's kind of a theme, I kind of like that. It's a woman who has a very heavy past, and something happened and she failed at something that she lost someone that was important to her, and now she's kind of a washed up drunk, playing old fools for money. So she's a hustler. She's great, like she's the best at chess, the game of Go, I think. Like any game, strategic game is her forte. She's the best, and she gets chosen by a god. So there's the heavens where the gods are. There every 100 years there's a new god that gets elected as king or queen, and they battle it out through humans to get this position. So the god that's in power at the beginning of the story is the god of war, and the country has been at war for 100 years. So she gets chosen by the god of forgotten things. She's a little, appears as a little old lady, and she chooses her champion, and she basically says, you're gonna get all the gods give an item, a magical item, and you have to find all the items to give you entry to the battleground, basically, and then you the two champions, the two that have the most items, battle it out. So yeah, that's the main story. Like, and it's so great. Like, I loved the mystery, the banter. Like, the characters are lovely in their own way. They're all kind of rich and funny in their way, and I got attached to a few of them very much. And I there's friendship, there's betrayal. It's lovely. And all through that, you have to find these magical items. So it's like a race against time, and it's a treasure hunt, and also like a lot of strategy. Because of course, our main characters, that's her main ability. So you have all this. You don't really know what she's gonna do, you know, and does she want to win, and does she have a choice? Like, it's really amazing. So the trilogy is lovely. If you like that kind of thing, I would recommend. It's kind of, if you like manga, if you like classical Japanese, Chinese literature, things like that, I would say, like, definitely give it a go. They're easy to read too. All right, so my number 5, we're getting close to the top. Number 5 is Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. I read that during spooky season. It was my main spooky read, and I didn't expect to love it so much. I had read a couple of books from Ray Bradbury before, and I knew he was a great writer. Like, he has a great style. I also did a review for this, so I'll link that down below. I was blown away. I did not expect to like this so much. The story, the characters, the fear factor, like, everything was so creepy. There's like a witch that creeped me out so much, and the illustrated man who's the main villain, amazing. There's a creepy carnival. There's adults that kind of want to go back to being kids, and kids who kind of want to be adults. It's really like a big part of this. The reason I love this is the relationship between the two boys that are the main characters. There's also a great relationship between a father and a son that brought tears to my eyes, so I did not expect this. So yeah, amazing. Highly recommend. All right, number 4, another Guy Gabriel, okay? A Song for Arbonne. This one I had read before when it came out, again, ages ago. I was a teenager, and I loved it. I didn't know he had, like, other books. I had that, you know, when you're young and there's no internet, like, it was at the beginning of an internet, really. In '96, I didn't know, like, I didn't look for more books from Kay. I should have, but I didn't know. So I had to wait until now to read all of them. Song for Arbonne is set in alternate medieval France during the times of the troubadours. And, you know, like, at that time in the south of France was really the hub of culture for the, I would say, European countries. They had more refinement, they lived better, they had, like, troubadours, poets, they ate great food, and, you know, they were a bit more cultured than the rest of France. Like, the north of France was a bit, like, a bit more rough. And also, like, in this book, it's the south versus the north, really. And there's one character who's kind of in the middle of this. He's from the north, but he's a mercenary. We don't know why he left his country, but he's a mercenary in Arbonne, and he kind of doesn't get it at first. He doesn't understand what's so, like, how have you not been conquered by now? You're like lazy fools. You drink wine, and you sing, but then it kind of grows on him, this way of life, and he kind of gets why maybe it's a better way, or maybe like, so north against south. And there's also a troubadour, a lady troubadour that's kind of tagging along, and she's a witness to all these events. So yeah, a very interesting, and it's just the plot is great, but it's really the atmosphere, the vibes, the artistry of this book, is the characters. Like, I love the main character Blaise. I just love him, and yeah, so I absolutely love this book. All right, top 3. Okay, number 3. But number 3 and number 2, they're kind of ex aequo. They're kind of equal. I had to choose, but they're intertwined, because they're The Swift and the Harrier by Minute Walters and The Players by Minute Walters. So I think I like The Players better, but a lot of people prefer this one. My mom read this and she preferred The Swift and the Harrier, and I know Kim at An Oasis of Books also prefers this one. I think I like that one better. So the setting, it's a historical fiction duology, and I thank you to Julie from Bookish Travels, because I saw that she was talking about this as a new release on her channel, and I applied to get an advanced reader copy on NetGalley, and I got it. And honestly, I didn't expect to, and it was fate, because I hadn't read a lot of historical fiction since a few years. Like, I hadn't for a few years. I just got off of it. I'm very picky, so with historical fiction, it can't be too much history, like nitpicky, and your characters are just there so you can show your research. I hate that. And also, it cannot be like, it's just like a kind of a historical setting, but I just want everyone to sleep together and have like a kind of a romance novel hidden as a historical fiction. I hate that too. Like you take kings and queens and you just make them do whatever you want. I like it kind of an accurate history retelling, so I like a middle, in between, and which is what I got with this. So it's set in the first book is The Swift and the Harrier. It's set during the English Civil War. You have Jane Swift, who is the daughter of a country squire, who is a royalist, because the Civil War was the royalist against the Cromwellians, like the army. Sorry, she's a doctor, which, she could have led a life of leisure and just married and done nothing, but she decided she wanted to be a doctor, so she studied with the best doctor in her area. And during, at the start of the conflict, she decides she's not going to take sides, she's going to be neutral, she's going to treat everyone the same. So if anyone needs a doctor, she's going to treat them. And Jane Swift is a great character. I loved her. She meets with a lot of great people, and also her family are great. Like, I enjoyed their journey. Like, they start with absolute certainty with their cause, and then everyone kind of gets a bit muddled. And then you have William Harrier, who is a mysterious man she meets. He seems to, like, you don't really know what his aims are, you don't know what he's doing and why, but you kind of know he's very attractive. He's dark and handsome and mysterious, and he seems to be more on the side of the army. So you have all sides, and Jane Swift gets trapped during a siege of one of the cities, and she's kind of living the life of a city under siege, and she's living with people she wouldn't have, been with before. Like, she's from a noble family, but she's kind of running the hospital in that town. It's amazing. It's like a great portrait of the Civil War, but it also has medicine talk and a lot of knowledge, and it has a nice love story. So it's everything I like. And then the sequel is The Players. It's set decades after the first book, and it's set during after the rebellion of the Duke of Monmouth, who was Charles II's bastard son, and he wanted to take the throne away from his uncle, who was a Catholic king, James II. And then the people who got involved in that rebellion, really, in Dorset, Somerset, the west of England. And at the center is a protagonist that I really enjoyed. We don't really, like, if you've read this book, you know who the characters are. I'm not going to reveal anything. But the main protagonist in this one is a man. So you get the perspective of a woman and then a man. And I also like all the goodies in that one are in this one. You have a character who's like an antagonist, kind of. He's the hanging judge, who is a real historical character, but she kind of gives him humanity in a way. He's infuriating and a kind of a buffoon, but also great in his way. And yeah, he's very layered, and I loved him. Like, I just enjoyed that character so much. Obviously, I also enjoyed the main protagonist. I enjoyed his mother, and I enjoyed also the kind of love interest. So she's a woman who has a handicap, but she has a great mind, and she has like a legal mind, really. And the goal in this book is to help the people who got caught up in the rebellion, and now they're facing hanging or like the justice of the king. And it's the goal is to save as many people as possible. But I'm gonna it's not too spoilery, like you kind of figure it out at the beginning, so I'm not gonna say too much. But absolutely, if you love historical fiction, oh my god, read this. Alright, so what could be better than that? Well, my first book, like the number one. From my most read author of the year, Guy Gabriel Kay. So I also did a dedicated review for my top 3. I did a dedicated review for all those, so I'll link that. So The Lions of Alresson is my favorite book of the year. And, sorry, it's my favorite book by Guy Gabriel Kay ever. I've read all of them, so now I know. I absolutely love this. It made me cry. The characters are living with me. The themes are so relevant to any period of history, including today. So it's a bunch of great people, like different people coming from different places, different religions, professions, and they kind of end up in the same place at the same time during a conflict between Esteraña, which is kind of the alternate Spain, and Alhazan, which is kind of the alternate Andalusia, the south of Spain, the Muslims against the Christians. But it's really the people at the heart of this story. Like, it's what happens when all these people with different allegiances, different goals, different vocations, religions, they get together and they become great friends, or they fall in love with each other. What happens when the allegiances come to call? Like, what is going to win? Like, what's happening to good people in disgusting situations? Yeah, very relevant. And it makes me cry. And also broke my heart. Like, there's a scene at the end that it broke me in a good way. So that was my favorite book of the year. I can't talk about it without crying, so that tells you something. It's emotion, like, yeah. I love these characters so much. So watch the review if you want to know more. I managed not to cry, I think, in the review. So let me know what was your favorite read of 2025. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this year. See you next time.